Hey guys, it's me, Paco, and you're watching Bad Witch Books. Guys, so today we're doing my spring haul. I have about like 25 books, give or take, and these are books that I bought through March through May. It is currently May 18th. Don't plan on buying any more books this month. I probably will be getting them. I will hopefully this month get the May Fairy Loot, but that'll probably be the only other book I buy this month. But let's get started. This is not going to be in any order because I was originally going to try to put an order and then I got like halfway and I was like messed up and I said, we're getting the video done. So the first book I'm going to have and show you guys is actually my book club pick for this month for May. And that is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. This was the, I want to say March Fairy Loot pick. So it's very pretty. This is my book club pick for the Enchanted Forest Book Club. The meeting will be on May 24th if you are watching this before then. So I hope to see you guys there. But also, if you don't know what this is about, a girl, she, like every year, I believe, or every other couple years, a girl is sacrificed to be the Sea King's bride, and this year, Mina, our main character, her brother's girlfriend is going to be sacrificed, and her brother is about to mess things up because he doesn't want his girlfriend to die, and so she sacrifices herself instead so that her brother doesn't get in trouble. But I'm in the middle of reading it right now, and it's pretty good. So the next book I have here is, actually, I don't have it right here. I do not. My brother's reading it right now, I believe. And it is Blood Cyan. So here is a cover picture. This is the Fairy Loot edition that I have, which is just really cream color. It's not as pretty. Wish it was a lot better, but I love Blood Cyan. This is about a girl named Simone. It's been a minute. I read it a couple months ago. But our main character, she is the descendant of the god of fire, and the place she is living in is basically outlawed to be a child of a god, basically have magic, and they are hunted, and she is forced to join the army. They don't know she's this thing. Really action-packed, really gruesome. Like, it's about the child soldiers, like, inspired by the child soldiers in Aruba. So I would read the trigger warnings for it, but really good book. 4 out of 5 stars, really good. So the next book I got is And They Lived by Steven Salvador. So this is about 2 boys that are going to college, and one is very much a romantic at heart. He loves Disney. He's very like sweet and stuff. And the other is a boy. I don't think he's out yet, or he realizes that he is into guys, and they meet and they start to have feelings for each other. It sounds really sweet. I might be reading this during Pride. But yeah. The next book I have is The Fevered Star. This is the sequel, much-awaited sequel to Black Sun, which is an indigenous-inspired fantasy world, which has gods, political intrigue, and it's really good. The cover's kind of growing on me, even though I still don't love it compared to the first one, but I'm really excited to get into this book when I do. So the next book I have for you guys is This Woven Kingdom. Dion, you are getting this very soon. I just need to go to the post office and get boxes. I've been very busy, but you'll be getting this soon. I should be going to the post office tomorrow. But this is by Tara Mafi. It is a fantasy which has gin in it. It's romance. Really good. I mean, I gave it 3 stars. Dion really loved it. But yeah, really good. Pretty cover too. The next book we have is a comic, and that is Chef's Kiss. This is by Jarrett Mendinez, Danica Blaine, Hank Jones, and Hassan Omate. Yeah, so they are the creative team behind this. It is about a guy who is going to cooking school, and he ends up falling for someone, I believe. It's a graphic novel. The art's pretty. And I think this is like new adult, or I don't think it's like teen. I don't know. I saw this on TikTok and I was like, let me try it out. Haven't read it yet. Next book I have is another Lisa Kova book. Deal with the Elf King. This is by Lisa Kova. It is the first book in the Married to Magic novel. This is about a girl who is chosen to marry the Elf King, basically, for magic reasons, and I'm interested. I read Air Awakens recently and really enjoyed it, so excited to get into this. Next I have is Witchlings by Carla L. Ortega. So the author of Ghost Squad. This is about a group of girls. They are like about to do their initiation into the magic school, I believe, and they are put into a coven of rejects, and they're going to lose their magic unless they do this big trial. And I'm really excited to read it. It sounds really interesting. It's giving me very Owl House vibes, so I am excited to get into this. So the next book I have is A One for All by Lillian Lenoff. This is a book inspired by the Three Musketeers, and I believe there's like a disabled rep. Don't quote me on that, but it has to do with like the Three Musketeers and fighting and like that. I'm excited to get into this. The next book I have is This Is Ever After by F.T. Lukens. This is a basically fantasy. What takes place after the villain is defeated is this our main character. I read this, and yet Eric, he becomes the king of the kingdom after they defeated the evil empire, and he has to find someone to marry him or he will disappear because of the laws of magic and the crown. And so he is like, well, I'm going to pick someone out of my friend group, and he tries to woo each of them even though he has someone he has feelings for. This book is like a 2.5 stars, really disappointing because I liked the first book by the author, and I enjoyed this, but the miscommunication trope really brought this book down for me. It was so like that was the whole plot, is miscommunication, and it was really irritating. But I did like the other stuff in it, in the world, and I'm gonna read their next book because I really did like their first book. Our next book is Galliant by V. Schwab. This is, I actually really don't know much about this, but I just know this is V. Schwab's new book, and I've heard all good things about it. V. Schwab gets enough, like, a lot of people are already talking about it. This book has been talked about a lot, and I'll jump into this probably in October, because I know it's supposed to be gothic. Okay, next book we have Lobo Lobinoza. This is by Romani Garber. This is a book inspired by Argentinian lore, and our main character, do I know their name? Manuela Azul, her family is like taken by ice, and she has to try to survive. And I know there's magic in this, and I'm excited to read this. I'll probably read this in like September. Lobiniza, that's the name of it. I don't know why my mind is like not here today. The next book I have is Heaven's Official Blessing. This is by Tangan Shifu. This is a translated work, I believe, and it is a BL story, and I know it has to do with gods, really. I've seen like things of like all about this, so I picked up the first one. Haven't read it yet, but I will. Whew, almost there. Next book I have for you is Jay's Gay Agenda by Jason June. This is a boy self-discovering his sexuality when he moves school and he is no longer the only gay kid in the area. So I've heard really good things about this. I kind of want to read the author's next book that it has to do with mermaids, so I was like, let me pick this up, and I might read this next month for Pride. I just finished this book that is Hotel Manifeek by Emily J. Taylor. This is about a girl named I just finished this, let me guess this. Johnny. I shouldn't have had to open the book. But she and her sister try to get hired at this like magical hotel. They get hired and they find out that things are not what they seem. It is very in the vein of Caraval, but it was an enjoyable 3-star read. Next book I have is The Lost Dreamer. This is about 2 girls, Inder and Saya. They are dreamers, so they have the ability to go into the dreaming. And one is in the temple, and she has raised her whole life to be a dreamer. The other one has been on the run with her mother, and her mother uses her abilities to kind of con people. And she has this protective amulet on, and she has been told never to take it off. And things happen when a new king enters the city for Indir, and that sends the plot in motion. Really enjoyed this. The writing was beautiful. Probably 3.5 stars. Excited for the sequel. The next book I have for this haul is the June book club pick for my book club, the Enchanted Forest book club, and that is The Bones of Ruin. This is by Sarah Wrigley. This is a book about a immortal African tightrope dancer, and she enters this competition of other like mystical or like unnatural, like people with powers kind of, and it sounds really good. I know this is like historical fantasy, and I'm excited to read this next month for my book club. Whew, okay, next book, 3 books are in a series. They were bought together, and that is, I'll do this in the right order, sorry. So we have The Final Empire, The Well of Ascension, and The Hero of Ages. This is for the Brandon Sanderson read-along. And it is, if you don't know what Mistborn's about, it follows a group of people. They are called Mistings, and if they juice a metal, they have the ability, like an ability depending on the metal, and then you have these things that are Mistborn, which can digest any of the metals, and they get all the abilities, and they try to take over this kingdom that this, like, desperate ruler who is, like, evil, and they try to defeat him. Really good. I've read the first 2 books. I'm reading the 3rd one this month, and really good. Okay, the next 2 are part of a series, and that is by Julie Kikawa, and that is The Iron Raven and Iron Sword. These are the newest 2 books in her Iron Fae. This is Iron Fae Everfall. I still haven't read the second Iron Fae series. I read the first one, so I need to read the second one before I get into these 2, but I wanted to get these 2 while the hardbacks were easily available. So when I eventually get those, when the new covers come out, I will get into these. Whew, we're almost done. We got 4 more. Yeah, 4 more. Okay. So the next book I got was Book of the Month, because I'm redoing Book of the Month again. I'm just regularly buying their box, and my pick for this month was The Hacienda, which we'll be reading this month. This has been described as Mexican Gothic meets Rebecca. Have I read either? No. Will I read this? Yes. This girl, she is like right after the Mexican Revolution, I believe. She is supposed to marry this guy, and he takes her to his home because she needs somewhere to live. And like creepy things are happening, and her only ally is this priest / brujo. So I'm excited to read it. Excited. So the next book we have is Entering the Whispering Door by T.J. Klune. This is, it says Death is only the beginning. This starts with a guy dying, and he basically didn't live his life a lot. He stayed home, he didn't do anything, and the spirit of death, or Grim Reaper, or whatever, like, kind of gives him a little bit of a chance to live his life, but, like, his spiritual life, or whatever, before he has to be taken to the other side, and I'm excited to read this. The next book I have is Flirting with Fate by J.C. Calvera. She wrote the, Stormrunner series, and I read the first book and enjoyed that. This is about a girl named Carmen? Ava. I don't know why I want to say Carmen. Ava, on the night her grandmother dies, she is supposed to be getting this blessing, but she doesn't get it because she's stuck in traffic with this guy. They're stuck together because of like a flood or something happens, and so her Nana's ghost later tells her, you have a chance to get your gift. It involves this guy somehow, and shenanigans ensue. I'm excited to read this. Okay. Whew. Last book that I bought. I just bought this today. And that is The Lesbians Guide to Catholic School by Soria Reyes. This is a gorgeous cover. All I know is our girl, Yamanita Flores. She's 16 years old, and I believe this is like her journey of discovery. I'm really excited to read this. I will be reading this next month. I love the cover. I just honestly really love this cover. It's so pretty. It's pink. The naked hardback I saw is also just really pretty and pink. But yes, that is what I bought this spring. Let me know what you got. How many books have you bought? Do you count or do you keep track of? I try to keep track. A little messy this month, but not as much as winter, because there was no sales like there was in winter, and winter also had Christmas and my birthday. But yes, thank you guys for coming this far. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Like the video.